You mentioned the Kardashian, no? Ano yung social value ng ginagawa nila?
Not really. It's really for entertainment. People go there for entertainment. A lot of people will say, there's nothing educational with what they're doing, but they try to. But the fact remains that Kim Kardashian is a marketing genius.
Yes, and that's a topic of conversation.
Right.
That's 365 million followers.
Right.
Walang makakatalo kay Kim
So with
Kardashian.
that attention, they get paid about 8 million for an Instagram ad, for example.
I'm intrigued, no? Kasi ano yung naiko-contribute nito sa society?
Not really.
Sa development ng ating
Aspirational
It's
for people.
very aspirational.
If there's a good thing that comes out, it's being aspirational.
That they're normal at times.
Kumbaga, it's either you love them so much or you absolutely hate them. It's basically building a tribe of followers, those that actually believe in you. So you start off with a small tribe, your innermost circle, and then the friends of those friends, and then next thing you know, you have the friends of the friends of your friends becoming your fans or your followers, and you just talk about a certain type of content. Like I have a friend who just talks about G.I. Joe and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and he has over 350,000 followers on just his YouTube channel, and that's all he talks about. He doesn't talk about other toys, but just those. As long as you have a long-term contract with them, they're not gonna break any rules or guidelines that you have.
Yeah.
When you say you cannot do this while you are working with us, they cannot post about it. It just protects you for at least a year or 2 or 3, depends on the length of the contract that you have. Like for me, for example, I work with a specific bank. I can't work with another bank, so I can only talk about that bank in particular for the next 2 years. That's the thing. That's the way to actually protect it. Brands and companies work with a lot of people because they want to get their influence. It's really up to you to decide whoever you want to target and if it works for you. That's why you need benchmarks when you're working it on the first month, second month, third month, and so on. It has to be shareable content.
Yes.
Where people comment. That's why on my social media accounts, whenever someone comments on my post, I make sure to reply even with just an emoji.
Yes.
I'm also the creator, but also one that engages with the community. It's like this, when I say hello to you and you just stare at me, there's no interaction, right? But when I say hello and you say hi and I say how are you, that's how it is on social media. It's social interaction. Kasi minsan mangyari, magpo-post tayo ng information or something that you wanna share, tapos may mag-comment, saan po makikita yan? Saan po makakuha?
Yan actually yung nangyayari sa post nyo. We scanned into all your pages, hindi nagre-react.
I'm 1,000,000% sure that if I go to your social media accounts and see your content that you put out and it's information and someone asks a question, there would be no one from your group that answers it. So there's no community specialist that we call. When we handle brands, when we create their social media posts, we also have people who handle inquiries on inbox, those that respond to them and such. So it's a constant effort. And that's how you keep the community engaged at the same time grow the community as well. One of the things I do as a consultant with brands is that I ask them right away, what is your goal? And what have you done lately, the past year, 2 years, 3 years? And when I give talks and I suggest things that we've done, and there's already, negativity towards these ideas, I always tell them that if you're not ready to evolve with what's current right now, you will die as a company. And that's one of the reasons why I could end a meeting with the company in 5 minutes. Because when they tell me right away that, Antonio, this is not the way we've run things the past 30 years. We've been successful doing this for the past 30, 40, 50 years. If they're not willing to adjust to what's current today, it's a brand destined to fail. There's a saying that if it's not broken, don't fix it. But the thing is, it is broken, and that's why some companies and brands go talk to us because they're reaching out for help. Because if you're saying that there's nothing that can be done already because it is what it is, that saying, right? It is what it is. Then you're saying that, okay, we can't do anything about it anymore. But now we have a voice. We're given opportunities to openly talk about it. And it's a great avenue to say, what are the challenges that we have? And is there a workaround? Problems are good because it means that there's a viable solution to it. If there's a problem and there's no solution to it, then it's something that we need to endure. Problems are good because if you identify the problem, what are the viable solutions that we can make? And it starts from the top, where the root cause is. So we have to know what's the problem. I mean, we could go on and talk about social media strategy and such, but the thing is, like what Sir said, that there's a problem at the top because of the handbook maybe is outdated and needs updating, then it's something that we should look up on. For example, being able to work with, let's say, influencers is not something we can do because it's not allowed. Then maybe we can start small. It doesn't need to be something abrupt. We have to start small. Change does not happen overnight. Start with the small things and then we grow on from that. Because if you just say that we can't do anything about it, it is what it is, then what are we here for now? That's why we're here to help and ask what are challenges and what strategy we can use. Not all that's here is something that we can use. Of course, I understand that. But the thing is, some of it, you may be open to understanding, and maybe some of this is something that you've not heard. I think most of the people here are in advertising and media and such, and you may know that you already have a mindset that, okay, I already know what it is, yeah, move on to the next. But for some people here, they don't understand the basics of it. That's why we have to level with everyone here and understand what are we trying to achieve here. Because if you say, oh, I know that already, then you have a closed mind. What's going on? And this change will start only with you. It doesn't start from the top. If it starts with you, it sparks somewhere. Don't underestimate the power that you have, which is your voice. That's why it's very helpful to give data and results, because it's not based out of emotions. It's based out of what you see. What's the current trend right now? What works? And how we can utilize that in our own AFP way. It's not dancing and everything because that's what working on TikTok. We can utilize that in such a way that it's a win-win for us in our core community. I think that would be helpful if we all have an open mind and start off with fresh spark in our ideas. Because if we're close already, then nothing is really gonna happen. The algorithm of social media, especially Facebook, is ever changing. Before it used to be every 3 months there's something new. Now it's every 2 weeks. TikTok, almost every day it changes. It's so hard to follow with the algorithm and the trends that we have. But these are keys and the basics of how a social media strategy works. It's important to keep in mind each of this as a SMART goal. So let's explain what a social media goal is. I myself, I'm being called a social media expert, but I never want to be tagged as one because I'm always trying to learn. I have staff in my office that's 17 years old, 18 years old, who knows more about, SEO rankings more than me. It doesn't matter what school they come from or if they're college graduate or what have you. What's important to me is what they know and how good they are. I have a staff that I haven't met that gets paid a lot of money just because he knows how to get certain information about certain users and what's their behavior. It's always a learning process. So you don't stop and say that, I know everything already. Constantly learn, and that's how you become more valuable with what you have. It's better to be specific and specialize in one thing. I don't hire people who are jack of all trades. I don't hire I need someone that can do my social media, everything. No. I need someone that can do copywriting. I need someone that does my video. I need someone that does the editing. I need someone to do this, that, and what have you. Specialized lahat. They have specific roles because they're good at it. Not because they're good at everything. Kasi mas mahirap paltan yun rather than someone that can do everything. They're a dime a dozen. If you are in media, you focus on one thing. Marketing is a very broad network and you have specific jobs. If you focus on that, keep improving on that, that's where you become more valuable in what you do. I'm not gonna say an expert in everything. And I would say I know some of these things, but I do know marketing and sales and branding. That's my focus. I don't talk about finance or other things. This is my thing, what I'll keep on doing. If I know I don't know the answer, I will say I don't know. I will find out. I'm not gonna say I know better than you and what have you, but I hope this actually will help you get more information on that. It's like this. The show Maalala Mo Kaya? It shows every Saturday for the longest time at around, I think, 8:30 or 9 p.m. It's once a week, but a lot of people still watch up to this day. Why? Because it's consistent. You know what to expect, the type of content that it shows, it touches your emotion, but it's once a week. Just like, Ang Probinsyano was very famous because it's from 8 to 9 p.m. Mondays to Fridays. It's like that. Consider if you make a YouTube channel, make it as if it's a responsibility for you to share certain content at a certain time and a certain day. You can do as much as, like me, 3 times a week. You can do twice a week or you can do once a week, but never do just once a month. The problem is, your friends will not always support you. When you start a new business, for example, not all your friends will support you, and that's okay. But then, yung mga ka-network nila, yun yung capture natin. Nadadamay talaga sa. It's really hard to filter it eh. You cannot say na, ayokong i-follow mo ako, or ayokong i-like mo ako. You cannot say that eh, because you're sharing public information eh. So there's no way really to say na, unless you do solely ads, that's the way you can target it. But as of right now, I don't think you have budget to do ads to just target specific people na the ones to join. I came here with no idea, no clue of how the current situation is. That's why I treat you, for example, as a client. If it were a meeting, I would find out first what's your current struggles. I just found out now that this is the problem that you have. That's why he's disagreeing with a lot of things that I say, because it's the different strategy that we have. So now that we know what problem is, that's where we can find the viable solution for this. It's difficult, but it's not impossible. That's what I always say. Because PNP said the same thing to us, the reluctancy and all and what have you. But it's something that's workable as long as people are willing to bend and to change. Kasi I understand now the situation that he's trying to give. And that's very important. I didn't know about the situation that's going on here and such, but gives him now a little bird's eye view on what's going on here and different moving parts involved. Kaya there are a lot of things. What I would say is not impossible. I see now the challenges that you have and the sentiments that it's something that can be worked on. But to say na it can be done within a month or two, no, I cannot say that. It's something long term. Kasi when we make this content, it's for general. This is something for general. Some of it may apply to you, some may not, but I think specific type of strategy will work for you. And it requires a lot of planning and working with your guidelines as well. So just an idea, for example, yung nangyari stampedes sa Korea, it's something we can educate people also because I think that's a possible disaster that can also happen to us. So maybe sharing information that's timely and relevant since nangyari yun, informing people why stampedes actually happen is something that's, I think, part of your content strategy as well. So it's time relevant. Bakit nagkakaroon ng stampede? One fall, something like that. There's an explanation about it. I think that information can come with you and then that's where media will come into you and say they got their source from you guys. So the source of information should come from you kasi prevention nga, di ba? News sites like ABS, Rappler and such have those information. Tapos nakalagay courtesy of AFP, yung mga infographics na ganun kung bakit nagkakaroon ng stampede. Gives you more credibility as well na kayo yung source of information. Dapat sa inyo nanggagaling. SEO is huge. That's why if you get a specialist that specializes in SEO tracking and creating content on your website that puts you up on the first page of Google, it really helps. I mean, it's a very small investment, I think, and just getting the right people to do it. You don't get a jack of all trades to do that. You get someone that's a specialist that does exactly those types of things. That's correct. So one thing that I do is that I create long format content like 15-20 minute videos and then it's put on YouTube and then we splice it. We get the best parts and put it on Facebook to promote that long video to go there. So you get the best parts. Tapos satanungin, sa makikita yung full video dito po sa YouTube channel namin. You have long format, you have short format to funnel everything. It's what we call a pillar account. So your Facebook is your pillar account. It's your main thing. So the others are supporting it. Kasi kung Facebook ka lang, for example, ma-hack kayo, tapos wala kayong press sa iba, you won't be able to say on your Twitter, in Instagram, your other channels na nag-down yung Facebook namin, go to this new channel, ito yung bagong Facebook na. It will be hard to gain that back again. That happened to me in one of my accounts, Facebook ko nawala, na-hack. I was left off with other accounts. Because you don't control it eh. Unlike a website, nasa inyo. Kahit anong mangyari, mawala yun, nandun yung website nyo. He's right because you can just do one media coverage and decimate that information to them. So, mas mabilis yung kalat ng information from Twitter. And you can share links in Twitter. Hindi sila nagsha-shadow ban and what have you. Wala silang algorithm na ganun. If you're part of what's trending, yes, and you can start creating that trending organically as well. Iba naman yung strategies sa Twitter. You can surely decimate information really fast with Twitter compared to Facebook. Medyo magsisimmer down pa siya. Hours. Sa Twitter, within a matter of 15 minutes, pwede mag-trending someone eh. Kaya marami nang namamatay na artista sa Twitter kahit buhay pa. I think working with influencers, you have to choose which one will work with you for free. Yun talaga. You don't aim for the stars. You can start lower and then, for me, working with someone na okay lang na libre but they have a voice and an audience, it's not bad to begin with. And that's how you'll grow it kahit na walang budget eh. So I'm not familiar with your process when it comes to your content creation, but I think process improvement is always needed. Like the speed of the content being put out, the quality of the content, it's hard to quantify it eh. When I say to you na, when I ask you how many pieces of content you create every day, if you say 5 and I see 5, that's 5. But when I say how many pieces of quality content do you create every day, for me it could be 1, for him it could be 2. It's in the eye of the beholder na kumbaga, 'di ba, beauty of the content that you put out.